Good morning, positive thinkers. We're here in our June meeting online again. This is our third month joining and just getting together on a virtual platform. Normally we get together the last Saturday of every month at the Bella Vista. We enjoy our company of everybody, lots of hugs and greetings, and we have a guest speaker who gets up on stage. We enjoy our breakfast. We do affirmations and a little bit of different format, but all good. We're here together, which is all that matters, really. So today we have a beautiful lineup of our guest speakers here today. We have our guest, Dominique Hurley, who a lot of us know. She has been a positive part of our Positive Thinkers group for a very long time. And she's going to be sharing an affirmations with us, some visuals. She's going to be sharing some, I also have a video to play that she put together, which is going to be absolutely beautiful. So a little bit about, and we also have Pamela too, who is here with us. She's our guest speaker for today, and it's going to be a very inspiring morning. I've been reading her information. She's been doing a lot in our community, and very excited to have her with us today. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Katie Huzzy, and I am the current president of the Positive Thinkers Club. This is my second term on the board, and I'm very grateful to be here to lead these meetings and to keep them going during such a needed time during the pandemic. A little bit of information about our Positive Thinkers Club. So our club formed 30 years ago. The co-founders, Dave Radofsky and John Snow, they formed their club in 1989, which was 30 years ago. So in 1988, John and Dave attended a human relations seminar performed by Brian Tracy. It was all about positivity, and they seen an amazing opportunity for a club to start here in Newfoundland. So they formed our club. They formed a board, and we have been doing this for 30 years. So congratulations to Dave and John for having that idea and bringing it together. So a little round of applause for them. So our board members, I always want to acknowledge our board members. We don't have everyone with us today, so I will just introduce and say a little bit of information about the people who are here with us today. So we have Dave Radofsky, who is our co-founder and founder. And give a wave, Dave, thank you. We have Selena Torres, who is our director of newsletter, and she has created an electronic newsletter that normally we pass out at our meetings. With the pandemic, obviously, we can't do that. So we decided to do an electronic thing. And if you are not getting our newsletter, we have a chat in the Zoom call. If you want to be added to our emails to get our newsletter, please, if you would like to type into the chat your email address, and I will get you added to our electronic newsletter. And we send that out about a week before our meetings. And it's just a great way to get to know our guest speakers, some little information about people who are within our group as well. So it's a positive way to do some reading electronically. So we also have with us today Alex Suey, who is our past president. He is responsible now for doing nominations for our elections, and he's been an amazing part of our group. We have Christina Howe, who's with us, and she's a board director. Hi, Christina. And let's see, I don't want to forget anybody. We have Sheldon Crocker, who is our director of public relations. He takes care of our social media and just getting all the information out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Thank you very much, Sheldon, for being part of our group. And see with our faces, we have Jackie Cook, who is our secretary, who takes care of our minutes at our board. For our board, she keeps track of everything, keeps us all straight, and we're very grateful to have her with us. Not with us today, we have Noel Vitch, who is our treasurer. We have John Snow, who is our co-founder. And if I'm forgetting anybody, please forgive me. Okay. Now, if for some reason you are interested or you have somebody who might be interested in being a guest speaker for a club, doing affirmations for a club, or even being part of our board, please reach out to either myself or for speakers, reach out to Alison Donchmont and she will book you in. Okay, so now we're going to get started. Today we have Dominique Hurley with us, and Dominique is going to lead us with a short affirmation session, which is infused with energy of one of her paintings inspired by COVID pandemic. Then she will share, or I will share her video. It's a creation of that was inspired by messages that came through the daily visit of a very interesting character to her window. So Dominique, thank you very much for being here with us today, and I'm going to hand it over to you to begin.
Thank you very much. First of all, it's lovely to be back with the group. Okay, so let's just take a moment to connect to everyone that's here. First of all, just feel it in your heart, because we're all experiencing challenges and they're different. And we already heard from one member today who's experiencing a challenge, and I'm sure all of you with COVID are feeling different things. And just take a moment to connect to everyone that you can see and those that are just listening and you can't see on the screen. Just breathe that in. And then expand that to connecting to everyone on the planet, just like if we were all little dots of light on the planet. And remembering why we're here. I mean, we're here to fill our cups today. And we need that so that we can have more love to share with those around us. And I listen to a lot of different speakers every week as I'm doing different things. And there's a few sentences that I want to share before, because we're actually going to do the video before we do the affirmations. I changed the order. It made a little more sense. And some of the sentences I've heard this week that really stayed with me is, one, happiness is embracing what is. So just think about that. Happiness is embracing what is. It's not about denying what's happening in the world, but it's about, okay, you know, stuff is happening, but let's see how I can do the best of it. And some other sentences that relate to that is, we don't go through our challenges, we grow through our challenges. So we don't go through them, we grow through them. And it's not our traumas that define us, they refine us. It's about looking for the gift in our challenges. And one of the ones that I really like is, I didn't know this, but the Japanese word crisis, you know how they have characters, the word crisis is made out of two characters. One is danger and the other is opportunity. And basically, once you take care of the danger element, like everything that the government's doing, everything that we're doing to protect ourselves and others and those we love, then it's about looking for the opportunities, about how we can grow. And a lot of that is about looking at what's happening in here, because positive thinking, yes, it starts here, but first it starts with our perception and our judgment of what's actually happened, because the events don't change, but how different people perceive that event is what's going to affect the feelings and the actions or reactions that we have. And this video that I want to share with you, this is my new passion right now, is filmmaking through my phone, through my little video maker. I've been doing a lot of stuff in nature, because Mother Nature, being in nature, really does help us fill our cup. Just having your feet barefoot on the ground, your hands touching a tree, it just really nourishes. And there's longer videos on my blog, on my website at dominiquehurley.com. For example, I started with a prayer for our times, where I made a 16-minute video, and it was nature speaking to us. So I had to choose a shorter video for that, for this meeting. And so, but that's the one that really kind of started seeing where my own creativity is leading me. And the one coming out this Tuesday on my blog, on my website, is affirmations, which is very appropriate. And that was based on a little trip, a staycation. Both of those were staycations. The first one was at Torres Cove, and this one was off Salmon Line that I did actually this trip with Leslie, one of our members here. And it's about looking for meaning, looking for how Mother Nature, the elements, the creatures around us talk to us. And we had this little feathered friend. Actually, 2.5 weeks later, he's still coming to our window, but not as often. The day that I filmed this, I was with him for about 7 hours filming. And at one point I had the camera on a tripod outside while I was cooking dinner and doing other things around the house. And when I looked at the footage later, I was so happy with the little surprise. You'll know exactly what I mean when we play this. So this is something that I wrote. My house sister has this really special relationship with birds, and she'd been with this bird for a couple of hours before I came onto the scene, and she knew that it had a message. So when I connected, I asked, what could this message be? And this is what I came up with, and she was like, oh, absolutely. However, the message changed the next day. So it's something that evolves. So this text that I wrote to go with this little video, which I hope works well because we're on Zoom. So if ever you want it to look smoother or whatever, you can find it on my blog. It's this week's blog post, I think. So we're going to ask Katie to play that, and just imagine this is the message that I felt that this bird was giving to us in terms of how our own thinking can get in the way. There's no sound, Katie.
A warbler's tale of temporary insanity. Have you ever gotten so caught up in a mental spin, convinced there was something outside of you to fight about? Wasting your time, wasting your energy, wasting your peace of mind for an illusion of your own making? Have you ever found yourself defending your perspective, arguing the measure of your rightness, competing for affection, jealous of a threat that never existed? Have you ever butted heads, fighting to be heard, only to realize after days of going nowhere, exhausted from repeating the same mistake, reliving outdated patterns of thought or behavior, that all this time you were the only one there? What a revelation, to awaken to the truth that all you saw and believed was only a reflection of your own mind. No one was stepping on your toes. No one was clipping your wings. No one was invading your territory or pushing against your boundaries. No one was threatening your chance at love except you, yourself. That's who you were at war with, battling your inner demons, projecting your fears upon the world. You made it all up, face to face and fist to fist with your ego. Insanity, Albert Einstein said, is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And that, dear yellow-feathered friend, is what you've come here to show us, day after day, as you fight your own reflection, competing with a non-existent foe for a prize long gone while you were too busy trying to hold on to it. Oh, darling yellow warbler, it's time to let go of your self-defeating efforts. You'll never win against an imaginary adversary. Choose love instead, choose life instead, for your mission here is done. Our hearts reach out to you, healed by your message, your wise and true teachings. And once we'd understood the lesson you were here to demonstrate, we tried to deflect your reflection. But you only perched on our wisdom, staring at your false belief, swinging from your stance of self-sabotage, to come face to face again with your misperception of reality. Oh, blessed winged one, please stop this temporary insanity. Don't wear yourself out, leaving yourself defenseless to the real enemies. Can't you see how your own thinking and doing drew them to you in the first place? And until you find your way back home to where your mate awaits, we're so grateful to know that someone has your back. So sleep well tonight and rest your weary wings. And please don't come back again and again and again tomorrow. Thank you, dearest messenger, and good night to you. Fare ye well to where your return is awaited. For as the Course of Miracles says, on the card my house sister pulled to shed further light upon the true purpose of your visit for her, you are altogether irreplaceable in the mind of God. No one else can fill your part of it, and while you leave your part of it empty, your eternal place merely waits for your return. So please return to your nest, and here we too shall rest in peace reborn.
Well, I forgot a very, very important piece of that. Am I, can you guys hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Yes? Okay. The key point to that whole story is, one, I don't know much about bird behavior. And so I thought, you know, is he eating bugs? Is he just trying to get in the house because, I don't know, his mate's caught in the chimney or something? But when I put it out on Facebook at a bird watching group, it was like, oh, he thinks that his reflection is a competitor for his mate. Did you guys get that while you were watching from the text? And so he thought that his own reflection was the enemy. And we do that so often. What's going on in our own mind is a fabrication. It's something we made up. It's a total illusion. And we get so caught up in this, you know, false adversary, which is ourselves. And, you know, you can't win. And so that's the blessing of positive thinking and of doing what we need to fill our cup so that we can see things from a more loving perspective. Anyways, that was a lot of fun to create. And when I found my 3 neighbors crossing the video path to add to the story, I thought, oh, that's awesome. So now let's move on. I'm going to share my screen with this painting here, Visionary, which it was a vision that I received early on. And I'm just going to check my time here because I know, yes, I got 4 minutes. Let's do this. Where I received a vision early on in COVID of this face that was shining up to the light, and the one eye was covered by her bangs and the other eye was the planet Earth. And so I'm going to show you this painting, and I'm going to share screen. We've done this. We know we can do this. There we go. And this is Visionary. And you can watch her evolve. There's about 15 layers of paint on here and different mediums. I created a movie so you can watch those 15 layers evolve, and the symbolism, again, on my blog at DominiqueHurley.com. And it's all about the spirit of transformation. This butterfly that's in front of it is the spirit of transformation, and her wings filled with love. It's about allowing us to just be and to see the world, to create the world that we want to see. This is such an opportunity right now, and we already know how the planet is evolving and cleaning, and how we're becoming more compassionate and more connected to each other in different ways. And so I do energy healing as I'm painting, and just allow the energy of this painting to feed you, to nourish you. And if you're not into that, just focus on the eye, the planet Earth that's there. And I invite you to repeat after me, knowing that your affirmations are like a seed of truth in your heart. As long as you can feel a seed of truth, it doesn't have to be the full picture, but as long as what you're saying has that feeling of truth, and then just expand that out to the universe. So I invite you to repeat out loud after me. I am a visionary.
I am a visionary.
I see the world that I want to create.
I see the world that I want to create.
I am a divine essence.
I am a divine essence.
I radiate into the world my love.
I radiate
into the world my love.
I choose peace and love over fear in every moment.
I choose peace
and love over fear in every moment.
I am a visionary.
I am a visionary.
I connect heart to heart and soul to soul with my brothers and sisters.
I connect heart to heart and soul to soul with my brothers and sisters.
I invite the spirit of transformation in my own heart.
I invite
I invite the spirit of transformation in my own heart.
When I change my judgment of an event, my feelings and reactions change.
When I change my judgment of an event, my
My
feelings and
feelings and
change.
reactions change. Yes. Sorry, that was a long one. I am a visionary.
I am a visionary.
I am a visionary.
I
am a visionary.
Send that out to the universe. I am a visionary.
I
am a visionary.
Love and peace start at home.
Love
and peace start at home.
Thank you so much for sharing with us this moment. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you so much, Dominique. Love it. When you told me that you were doing the video of this bird, it was funny, 2 weeks. I've had a little family of these yellow birds just hovering around and singing, and I said, is that a sign, I wonder? But I've been watching them, and it is very important for us not to get caught up in our minds and that cycle of negativity, and very grateful for you for sharing that, your beautiful painting and your beautiful affirmations. I'm very grateful for you. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, now we are on to our guest speaker, Pamela Martin McDonald. So our guest speaker today is sure to be an inspiration. She has an amazing background in health and wellness industry. She is a public speaker, the owner of Meridian Health Wellness, a professionally trained bodybuilder, a dedicated volunteer in our community who supports youth by teaching yoga. She does also support for mental health and also for feeding people in food banks. She loves nature, fitness, family time, and she believes in creating a life you love, a body you are proud of, and a mind that you fall in love with, which is awesome. Today, she will share her story of what was holding her back and how she learned to get back to herself. She hopes to inspire others to become warriors of the self by taking their power back. Deep self-love, some tough love, truth, forgiveness, and trust in a power that is higher than all of us. I'm happy to introduce today our guest speaker, Pamela Martin McDonald.
Oh, well, I am so grateful to have this opportunity to come on here today. Allison was the one who reached out to me probably, I'd say at least 6 months ago to do this. And at the time, I was so excited and I wanted to get my story out because I have never really shared my story before. Little snippets with, people I meet or clients here or there. But at the time, I decided, you know what, I'm right in the middle of a chapter of my story. I'm living it, so I declined. And then about 2 weeks ago, Allison reached out to me again, and she said, just wondering if you think you might be ready. And I could feel that little bit of resistance, like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready. And that's when I knew, yes, now is the time, because my story is always going to be continued to be written as long as I'm alive and being. So I jumped at that opportunity, and I'm so glad to be here with you all this morning, safely at home in our own quarters, enjoying each other's positivity and company. So again, thanks so much, Katie, for hosting, and Dominique, your piece totally speaks to me, as I'm sure it speaks to so many other people. And like that bird, that's me. So, you know, we're all so much alike than different. And perspective is certainly one of the things that I've learned along the way, for sure. Whatever your mind frame is at the time, that's going to paint the whole experience that you're having. So my story is about how I have overcome a lot of things that were holding me back. And I also wanted to say this to you, that I'm still doing it. So, and I think it's a lifelong thing to keep making sure that you're on that track and you don't get complacent or comfortable and think, oh, that's done. So that's my disclaimer before I even start talking, that, hey, I don't have my stuff together every day. And that's part of the human experience, that it's a practice every day to be aware. And it's a practice in a journey that I'm so grateful to be on. So I think I'd like to say first, I'd like to take it back to my childhood, because our childhood certainly paints the backdrop. Our experiences, our upbringing, and for me, has had a lot to do with my view on the world, my values, my judgments, per se. And so I am the child of a couple from St. Mary's Bay. That's where I was born and raised. And I'm one of 4 siblings. And from looking back at my childhood, I can see so many parallels from my parents' marriage to my marriage. And those relationships with my siblings, with my parents, their relationship together, how I relate to my husband and my kids. It's something like, you know, some of these days you look at your kid and think, oh my gosh, I'm turning into my mother, you know, and you think that you were never going to be that. Well, these are the parallels that I've come to learn that have, in one sense, held me back. But in another sense, when I take a step back and look at and see that perspective, kind of get out of my bubble, that's when I realize that these are here to teach me. So with my upbringing, there was triggers. I could see, you know, how my parents related, and growing up in a small town with you know, limited resources, so different from today with all the education on self-regulation and things like that. So the frustrations that I felt then, and not understanding or feeling that I had to kind of silence myself when around the adults who know better and or do better, that's where I found that my feelings of frustration, or you know, as the society can be, children should be seen and not heard, that was a common thing. And to speak up, I felt that my truth was held back. And I kind of took that with me into adulthood, to kind of hold back a little bit because of judgment of others. And as well, that went into my high school days and even in my early 20s. So I've always had that little piece that I should hold back because of what others may say or think, and the feeling of, oh, am I too much? Am I not enough? Am I going to say the right thing? And looking back now, I can see that held me back, and that perspective, that story, kept me from being my true self. And so from that, you know, from those frustrations and from that not knowing where you fit in and things like that, I developed coping mechanisms to try to regulate myself. And when I look back at it, I see how I intuitively was doing affirmations, how I was intuitively recognizing that my breath, when I held my breath, and then that suspension and that feeling after, was what gave me that little break away from the scenario or whatever was going on. So that gave me a bit of a window of opportunity to get out of my head and more into my body. So I didn't know it was a thing then, but I'm so glad that I know it's a thing now. And so that was something that I didn't really give a lot of thought to, but, you know, I intuitively did that. And growing up so close to the ocean, you know, that always brought comfort and healing. And you take things for granted when you're around them, I find. And now as an adult, that's exactly what I want. Like even this morning before I decided to come and talk to you guys, instinctively I went out around barefoot in my yard just to really ground, connect when I was feeling those nerves. And kids are around, we're all at home, you know, doing their thing. And it was just my automatic thing to go out and do that. But growing up, that was not encouraged, or that was not even a known thing. So these things that humans instinctively know, sometimes we don't validate our intuition, and I feel that's part of my quest, and from different highs and lows, from my anxiety and from depression and from dynamics in relationships, from postpartum depression, from postpartum anxiety. You kind of learn from your lows where you need to go, because when you go down, you know, there's not much further that you can go. So these things of nature, these things of the breath, you know, they start to come back to you then. And it was then as an adult, when dealing with, you know, these different feelings and emotions, that's when I started reaching out outside of my family, outside of my upbringing, and tools such as meditation and other teachers, just really challenging. Are we still there? I think I went for a second. Just challenging my limits, my boundaries of what I knew, and then coming up with what is my identity, because we can go so long with, I'm the mother of this person, I'm the husband, I'm the wife of this one, this is where I'm from, this is what my parents do, this is the role that I put myself in. And then there's different times where you may just, and for me it was just feeling, oh my gosh, I don't even know who I am anymore. And through so many trials and tribulations, and blaming others and saying, oh, it's because you didn't show me the right example, or because this person was giving me a hard time, or because poor me, or that victim mentality. But really, you know, you can spend your whole life blaming your circumstances or blaming others. But really what I found I needed to do was look in the mirror, because I was the common denominator of all these experiences and relationships and challenges. It was me. So my story, and I'm trying to condense it in this time frame that we have, has so many chapters. But the real lesson that I wanted to share with you is that from stress and suppressing over time, and staying within that tunnel of what you have been exposed to, it's going to case you in. And that's kind of how I found it. So I developed some healthy techniques and some not so healthy techniques to help me along the way. So one of the things that I really found helpful to me was exercise. And getting out of your head and into your body, I didn't know there was a thing to that, but I knew that when I did exercise, things shifted out of here and down into my body. And then I felt like I had control. But it was a thing that, depending on how crazy things are in your head, the voices in your head, like the ego and the super ego, and then people around you, that can drive you hard into your body. So I was exercising and doing all that stuff, but it was almost too much, you know. So every good habit can turn into something that's maybe not so good, because you're running, you're trying to escape. So with that, I did the bodybuilding route, and all that exercise part came after kids, not before. So my kids, I have to thank for being my major motivator for taking my life back, getting that perspective, looking at those parallels of myself as a wife, myself as a mother, myself as an individual, to help try to take my life back. But every experience has two sides to it. So the exercise part, you know, becoming a personal trainer and reaching those personal goals and pushing myself and putting myself out there, becoming vulnerable, that was all fantastic. But I was really spinning my wheels because I was trying to do all the things. So as much as, you know, you can reach a goal and an achievement, it's now what? And now what? Am I happy now? Am I content now? Do I feel empowered or healed now? So there's a lot of things on the outside that you can do that are great, but until you really do on the inside, that's when things started to really shift for me. And I have had a couple of real big breakdowns, and just really, just when I think things are coming, you know, back probably 5 years ago, that's when it really shook me. And that's when I really wanted to find out who I was, besides my past, besides my parents, besides my husband. I really wanted to not busy myself. And that's something that I have found from a lot of clients, a lot of friends, that we can be constructively busy, and that's rewarded in today's society. So you're doing lots of great things, but also, you know, you need to slow down so you can feel what's going on, and have it less about the output and more about the quality of what's happening. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to give myself intuitively a detox. So for about 6 weeks, I really didn't indulge in any food type things. And then with alcohol, with social media, I stopped going to the gym. I stopped doing all of the things that were keeping me going and distracting me from what was really my peace, my truth. And it was like, it was the biggest withdrawal I ever had. And I can tell you that when you stop trying to be things on the outside, and you come to and you start looking in, that's the scariest thing I think I've ever done, is really just trying to find my own truth, letting go from you know, any kind of codependency, pointing blame at others, feeling that victim role. It really humbled me and broke me down. And from there that I started to kind of build up. So I still had a lot of this mental chatter going on in my mind. And I knew that, you know, I had learned the physical part. I learned the role nutrition played, but I still needed to get some grip on this mind. And I thought I was the only one that had a voice in the head, until I started getting more, looking for more answers. And I remember even as a child, I just go back, my mother always said I was such an inquisitive child. I never wanted to play with toys or dolls. I wanted to be with people. And even my high school yearbook, you know, the probable fate is, what if Pam didn't ask questions? So you know, I was always that type of person that had a question, wanted to kind of push past the boundaries, didn't want to stay in a box, wanted to do things differently. But I'd always never did validate myself for my intuitions and being who I was. So a lot of that chaos, you know, it is a thing, but there's tools to help. And with meditation, I knew I needed something. So I had the fitness part, like I said, I had the nutrition part, but what do I do with that brain and the voice in the head? It was taking me over. So from Eckhart Tolle to Deepak Chopra, to even local people here in St. John's, you know, I wanted to counter all that noise in my head, but I knew that I needed to do it. I couldn't expect someone else to heal me, or someone else to take my problems away, or someone else to silence the voice in my head. And that's what I really wanted to tell people. You can be at your lowest low, but you can also bring yourself out no matter what's happened. And you don't have to be, some people, and me included, would think, oh, well, I'm not depressed enough, or I'm not sick enough, or I need something to get worse in order to go reach out, or to be vulnerable, or to want something better, you know. But you don't have to wait for catastrophe in order to start climbing yourself back up and to ask for help and to do things differently. So with a balanced life, you know, and a balance doesn't mean everything is perfect all the time. Things are juggled, and that's okay. You know, so for me, it was, I really had to look in the mirror. I had to take control of my life. I had to pull myself up out of that hole, and several times, and to counter all the voices in my head and, you know, negative patterns, old stories, taking on problems or feelings and emotions from other people. I really had to counter that, and I do it every day, and it's the best thing that we can all do, such as affirmations, being in positive groups, grounding yourself with nature, having goals, and revisiting those things all the time. So those are some of the things that was really, really helpful to me, and I had to be really tough with myself to do it constantly, and to not expect myself to be perfect, and to know that I can't control other people, but I can control myself, you know. And with time and patience and a lot of self-love, a lot of self-validation, forgiveness of others, because we all are only human, you know. Nobody is superhuman. And that was a tough thing as well, like to not hand my power over, to not hand everything over to others. I had to be the driver of my own vehicle, and that something higher than all of us was what's available to us all, that higher power, you know, Buddha, God, whatever you want to call it, Divine Mother, but it's there for all of us, and that's what connects us all. And so for my own personal journey and all those chapters and those challenges, and, you know, that's when I started really speaking my truth more and living my truth more, and not trying to fit into a box or to appease this one. You know, there's been a lot of apple carts being upset along the way when I started to take my power back and start to have clear boundaries. I feel like I'm a 100% different person than I was 5 years ago, maybe even 1 year ago. but I feel that I have been taking my power back from what I thought was holding me back. And it's what's in here that holds me back, and it has held me back, not what's out there. Out there is out there. And once I realized that like a victim mentality is never going to get me anywhere, because nobody has a perfect life ever. It just doesn't happen, no matter how much social media and we like to put our best selves out there. But I think when we're honest and we come together, we're open, that's where the shame starts to go, and that's where that commonality between us all starts to come. And the real healing comes from feeling. So we have to feel it to heal it. Look in that mirror every day and use the tools. And I'm so grateful for all the tools and the education that we have. Okay, I apologize. I don't know what happened. Technical issue. Maybe that's okay. The universe is telling me that I have to stop talking now. But I will conclude that every challenge, every time we're tested or we feel triggered, it's always it's an opportunity for us to look, instead of saying, why is this causing me to suffer? It's, what is this trying to teach me? And to turn things around, and how you can learn, and that's yeah, always look at the bright side of things, because it's a wonderful world out there, and there's so much to enjoy.
Perfect. Thank you very, very much. Round of applause. I know we can't hear everybody, but thank you so much, Pamela. It's funny, like our whole lives, I think we really base it on what everybody else, we base it on the view of everybody else, but we forget to look within ourselves sometimes. And your story is very, very inspiring. I think it's very relatable here, especially in Newfoundland. We have so many small communities, and I think a lot of people would definitely be inspired by your story. So please continue to share it. And it's very, very inspiring. We need to, the dark, is everybody hearing me okay? Just to make sure, because I'm getting a little bit of feedback. It's important for us to look inside. It's always, look at our hearts and what we truly want, because life is very short. And if we live it based on the surroundings of what expectations of other people, we may never live our true life or our true passion. So very inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing that with us today.
Thank you guys for being my first audience for that. That's my first run.
So awesome. I'm going to open it up now to if anybody has any questions for Pamela or Dominique. If you want to unmute yourself and go ahead, just let me know that you want to ask a question. Oh, Bruce.
Hey, that was excellent. I really liked both. I couldn't hear some of it for a while, but anyway. Pam, one of the things I really liked what you said, and it's definitely kind of hit me sometimes too. You talk about balance, and as a biologist, we talk about it all the time, and you realize that balance is a lot of work. Things go up, things go down, things are all, balance is, it's not a static thing. It's constantly changing. And I think sometimes we forget that, we can't just sort of get to this. As soon as we get that, you get all that work done, then it changes and you got to do it all again. So I think that's a really good reminder of, because I think that's something for myself that, you kind of put all this work in and then you coast a little bit and then it's like, oh crap, that's all changed now. And I have to keep, I have to keep working. It's something, like you said, it's something that that we have to work on every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we
So,
can really burn out trying to keep all the wheels spinning and try to keep the peace, keep everything smooth all the time. Yeah, that's
mhm.
you're gonna burn out fast. Yeah.
I also find that when it comes to balance, I mean, it's different for everyone. There's the daily balance of trying to make sure you sort of, you know, address every area in your life. But I know as a creative, when I get into the zone and I'm like in a project, I can go 16 hours working on a painting or working on a video for 5 days. But then the balance is the next week, I may not paint or do any of that for like a week or two. And it's like, well, am I an artist because I'm not painting every day? Absolutely. So it's finding your own recipe for balance is what I find.
It is, and it's all a flow. There's highs and lows, and things level off, and to really allow ourselves to flow, allow ourselves to go on, to go off balance, because you need to experience to know what balance is. If you don't experience the high, then you don't know the low, and you can't appreciate.
So very true. Okay, and I'm going to see if anybody else has any questions. Christina, sure. Have to unmute. There you go.
Yeah. Hi there. That was fabulous. I enjoyed that very much. I really liked in that when you brought up the fact of validation, you know, and how important it seems in that to be for us in that to validate our feelings, validate in that our existence, validate in that the roles in which we play. But the one thing in that I've been learning, and very much through Eckhart Tolle, is that even though now we seek that validation, and even though it helps us to heal from the inside, it's also another extension of the ego. The ego needs the validation. It does help us heal, but it's still in that the ego, right? So it's good to bring that up and for people in that to see and to hear and you know and know that there's many roles in that we have to play in that in this life. You know?
Oh yeah, and you just reminded me of another lesson that I learned from Eckhart. He said, "Be careful with the ego because sometimes it comes in through the back door."
Yep.
Sneaks on in there.
Oh, just sneaks on in there. You don't even know he's there until I'm not wet.
Yeah, so we got, yeah, it keeps us on our toes.
Yep, exactly. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
As we're into level 2, if you want to share anything at all, I'll keep it open. Joel?
Yeah, not a question, more I guess a comment and an observation. I guess first I'd like to thank both Dominique and Pam for you know, giving up your time and your insights to us this morning. One of the things that struck me was the parallels between your two messages and how they complemented one another. And I'm liking the reference to Eckhart Tolle as well, because I've been reading quite a bit of his work over the last year or so. And I saw it peppered throughout both your presentations. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Oh, thank you, Joel.
Thank you, Joel. It's beautiful how it aligned. Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. And we're very grateful for the both of you for being here today with us. Sheldon, did you want to, I didn't know if your hand came up that time or not. Did you want to share something?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank both people for sharing and for all you guys being here. And as for Pamela's story, it's very, I connect a lot to what she had to say, and I feel like it was actually my story she was telling, and I'm sure a lot of us got things in common that we can relate to it as well. So yeah, I appreciate what both had to say, and thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheldon.
Thanks, Sheldon.
Okay. All right. So I believe we are still going to be online for our July meeting, which will be oh my gosh, let's see the date. July 25th. Same time, same place. Unless anything changes, we will update. If you are interested in our newsletter, please let us know if you would like to get that. And we will be announcing our guest speaker as time goes through July. And we do have Sheldon, who is confirmed for our affirmations. So he's going to do our affirmations for July. And we hope that you're safe and well, and that July is going to bring you all the blessings. And anytime, reach out on our social media, follow us, and we're very grateful for everybody for being here today. I'm going to conclude our meeting for June. And, oh, sorry, we do have Madonna. Oh, sorry. Pamela, you raised your hand?
Yes, I was so wrapped up in what I was saying that I forgot to let people know how they can contact me and find out more about the tools that I offer and the things that I share. So I just rebranded myself. So it's Meridian Health and Wellness. So I do have a website. I'm on Facebook. I do weekly live sessions just to highlight the different tools and techniques that I offer to others. Right now, I've been working with the Special Olympics team every week, and that's my latest partnership, and I'm very proud to be part of that. I've learned so much from this group of people, and yeah, I'm always open to working with groups, and I do private sessions as well in my clinic on Duffy Place, so we can do in person as well as online.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. And you're welcome on our Facebook page as well. We do have highlights of Dominique and Pamela in our event. So all the information is posted there with your website address and how to get in touch. And if you're welcome to connect with both of these ladies, they're fabulous. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, and now I'm going to conclude our June meeting and look forward to seeing everybody again in July. Keep safe and take care, and blessings to you all.
Great job, everybody.
Thank you, Katie. Yeah.
Day.
Thank you, folks. Yeah.
Thank you. That was great.
Take care, everybody.
Such a pleasure to be here.
Enjoy your day.
Thank you. So
Bye.
nice seeing you all.
Thank you. It was a wonderful session.